Hello everyone, I'm back with my next video for the students of class 10. The chapter is The Proposal by Anton Chekhov. Let's go through the summary first. The Proposal is a one-act play written by Russian story writer and dramatist Anton Chekhov in 1888-1889. The play is about the tendency of rich families to hunt ties with other wealthy families to extend their estates by encouraging marriages that observe economic sense. Ivan Lomov, a wealthy neighbor of Stepan Chubukov, also wealthy, who seeks the hand of Chubukov's 25-year-old daughter Natalia. All three are argumentative and they argue over petty issues. The proposal is on the verge of losing in the middle of all this quarreling. But economic common sense ensures that the proposal is formed in any case, although the quarreling perhaps continues. The curtain rises with Lomov entering his neighbor Chubukov's house in neatly dressed up attire. Chubukov, in great curiosity to see him well dressed, asks him the occasion. Lomov reveals that he had come for a desire. Chubukov assumes that he must have come to ask for money. After knowing that Lomov had come to propose Chubukov's daughter, Natalia's hand in marriage, Chubukov is very happy and excited. He leaves to call Natalia. Lomov is a 35-year-old gentleman who suffers from palpitations and gets upset very easily. He thinks it's the right age for him to marry and is happy that he is choosing Natalia. He believes Natalia is average looking and an honest home taker. On Natalia's arrival, Lomov initiates the conversation about cordial terms of both the families. While continuing to speak about his land, he somehow mentions Oxen Meadows, which earlier was a disputed property but is now his. Natalia is in the perception that Oxen Meadows belong to her family. Both enter into a heated discussion and act childishly, and Chubukov's entry makes it more heated. They shout and scream while Lomov suffers from extreme palpitation and a numb foot. They throw Lomov out of the house and continue abusing him. While defaming him, Chubukov accidentally reveals that he had a wedding proposal for Natalia, which surprises Natalia and she suddenly regrets sending him out. She tells her father to bring him back and Chubukov blames himself for being the father of a young daughter. When Lomov returns, Natalia tries to deviate the topic by talking about shooting. Little later, they enter into a debate on their dogs. Natalia strongly believes that her dog Squeezer is better in comparison to Lomov's guess. They continue arguing when Chubukov enters the scene only to find things worse again. Everyone gets hyper and Lomov finally falls because of palpitations. Even then, the cursing continues when suddenly Natalia notices that he is unconscious. As they find him unable to drink water, they declare him dead. After a while, Lomov moves a bit. They give him some water to drink and Chubukov forcefully hands over Natalia's hands to him, gives his blessings and asks them to kiss. After regaining his senses, he expresses his excitement and kisses Natalia's hands. Natalia again keeps convincing him that Squeezer is better than Guess, but Lomov, being adamant, refuses to accept this and the quarreling continues. So after reading this humorous account, let us start with the question and answers. Question 1. What makes Chubukov misunderstand the purpose of Lomov's visit? Chubukov misunderstands that Lomov has come to borrow money. He does not reveal his purpose of coming directly. Instead, he says that he has come to trouble him with a request for help. Question 2. Why does Lomov wish to propose to Natalia? The answer is, Lomov wishes to propose to Natalia because he feels she is an excellent housekeeper, not bad looking, and is also well educated. Moreover, he feels that he is already 35, which is a critical age, and he ought to lead a regular and settled life. He generally suffers from an abnormally high heart rate and gets upset easily. His lips start trembling and his eyebrows twitch. Above all this, he doesn't sleep well. Whenever he sleeps, he feels a pull in the right side of his head and shoulder. Then he jumps, walks and lies down, but as soon as he is to get off to sleep, he experiences another pull. This happens for about 20 times. Question 3. Who is Lomov? Why does he visit Chubukov? Lomov was a young wealthy landowner and an unmarried man of 35. He was anxious to get married as he had already reached a critical age. So he decided to propose Natalia, a girl of 25 years old. He visited Chubukov to ask for his daughter Natalia's hand in marriage. How does Natalia react when she comes to know that Lomov had come to propose for her hand? The answer is, when she knows that Lomov has come to propose to her, she starts weeping. She calls her father to bring him back at once. He has gone out after the quarrel. She also accuses Chubukov that he drove Lomov out. She becomes hysterical. Question 5. Neighbors must have a cordial relationship that Lomov and Natalia do not have. Justify. Lomov and Natalia were next door neighbors. One day Lomov came to Natalia to propose her. Natalia, who didn't know that he had come to propose her, thought that he had come to claim Oxen Meadows as his own. When Chubukov, Natalia's father, interfered with them and also pleaded that the Oxen Meadows were properties of Chubukov, the fight aggravated. For a few moments, Lomov's real purpose was overshadowed by that issue that he continued the bias that meadows belonged to his aunt's grandmother, who gave them to the peasant of Chubukov's grandfather on the condition that they would prepare bricks for her. So how it would be considered as Natalia's property? Though both Lomov and Chubukov, Natalia's father, were very rich landlords, they quarreled over a tiny piece of land called Oxen Meadows. But that was not the end of quarrel. Natalia didn't agree with Lomov's explanations. Instead, she offered to make a present of it to Lomov, who in turn rejected the suggestion, and the quarrel continued endlessly. Such first meeting of Lomov and Natalia had in itself seeds of things, that is, quarrel over petty issues, to be expected in their married life. Later in the play, we see that Lomov and Natalia quarrel again with each other, discussing about their dogs. Question 6. Give a character sketch of Lomov. Lomov was a funny man. Physically he was weak, but financially he was sound. He was a rich bachelor who wanted to marry Natalia. He was not really in love with Natalia, but wanted to marry her because he thought that she was a good housekeeper and not bad looking. He said if he desired for an ideal or real love, he would never get married. He felt that he was 35 now and he must lead a quiet and regular life. When he went to propose her, he got diverted. Actually, Natalia thought that he had come to claim Oxen Meadows as his own. Quarrel took place between them. One more time, they quarreled over petty issue. Before finally proposing to her, he fainted and after that shouted a lot but finally succeeded to get acceptance. When Lomov is in an excited state, his heartbeat increases, lips start to tremble, and there is a twitch in his right eyebrow. When he goes to sleep in such a state, something pulls him from his left side and he starts jumping like a lunatic. Justify Question 7. Justify the title, The Proposal. The title of the play, The Proposal, is very appropriate. A young man, Lomov, wants to propose Natalia for marriage. He goes to her house for the same. Being confused, he doesn't propose at once. He beats about the bush. He speaks irrelevantly. As Natalia doesn't know that he had come to propose her, she thinks that he has come to claim Oxen Meadows as his own. She starts quarreling. This results in one after another quarrel. After her father Chubukov reconciles, Natalia comes to know that he has come to propose her. Then at once she forgets the issue of fighting. Then the proposal is made and accepted. Finally, they get engaged. Arguments and disputes seldom solve a problem. Describe the dispute between Natalia and Lomov over the dogs and their superiority. Natalia and Lomov fought over superiority of the dogs, Squeezer and Guess. Lomov was pained to hear that despite many qualities, Guess had two major defects. That is, the dog was an old as well as short in muzzle. Lomov was proud of his dog's pure breed, its well-sprung ribs. It was also a good hunter. On the other hand, Natalia's high pedigree Squeezer was a bad hunter. She pointed out that her dog Squeezer was better than Guess. She remarked that Guess was old, ugly, and a worn-out cab horse. She also called Guess a lame dog. Then Lomov stated that his dog had become lame since its leg had been bitten by some other dog. Though Lomov had come there to propose Natalia as he wanted to marry her, they involved themselves in silly arguments. That also over petty issues. Their main purpose was sidelined in the dispute, but such silly arguments should never come in the way of matrimony. Rather, it is the attribute of tolerance and acceptance that paves the way to good relationship. Question 9. There is a certain way in which the characters speak in the play, The Proposal. What does it tell us about the Russian men? The answer is, as the story belongs to the Russian character, so through the dialogues of the characters, we come to know a lot about Russian men. According to the story, the Russians are very particular about their dress and have particular dresses for special occasions. Secondly, they are hypocrites. They show off to be sweet, but the very next moment they start fighting. They pretend to be good neighbors, but within their heart they have so many grudges. They love to have dogs as pets and consider their pet better than the other one. All of them are stubborn, short-tempered, quarrelsome, and rigid people. Question 10. Describe Lomov's first meeting with Natalia. The answer is, Lomov goes to his neighbor Chubukov's house to ask for the hand of his daughter Natalia. He is in a fix on how to make a marriage proposal. He talks in a roundabout manner. He makes mention of his meadows which touch their birch woods. At this, a quarrel ensues between them over the ownership rights of the meadows. Question 11. The way Chubukov, Natalia, and Lomov fought over petty issues is against the behavior and mannerisms of good neighbors. Comment and write what could have been the right way. Lomov and Chubukov were neighbors. Lomov came to Chubukov to propose Natalia, but instead of proposing, they started fighting over petty issues like oxen meadows and the quality of dogs. This is not the quality of good neighbors. Neighbors should be like good friends. There should be a positive relationship between the two neighbors. There should be an understanding and patience among neighbors. The fight between Lomovs and Chubukovs could have been avoided if handled carefully. The issue of meadows could be resolved calmly and quietly by a good conversation. There must have been some documents showing the ownership of the meadows, or both the parties could be convinced by making them understand that if they got married, the meadows will belong to both of them. Similarly, the issue of dogs could be solved instead of counting the negative points of each other's dogs. They could discuss the positive features of the dogs, thus the issues could be resolved. Question 12. Give a brief character sketch of Natalia. Natalia was 25-year-old daughter of Chubukov. She was a good housekeeper, not bad to look at, and educated. That was why Lomov wanted to marry her. She could be a good wife to him. She secretly loved Lomov. She became hysterical when she came to know that Lomov had come to propose to her. She asked her father to call him back. To please Lomov, she asked him to forgive her and agreed to his ownership of Oxen Meadows. She was greedy and short-sighted. She got the whole field of hay cut. She was also very inquisitive and wanted to know why Lomov was dressed up formally. She was touchy and short-tempered and fell into contradiction and argument on two occasions, once over the ownership of Oxen Meadows and the second time over the superiority of her dog Squeezer. She's as rigid as Lomov. She is not ready to give up even after getting ready to marry him. Question 13. Bring out the humorous element in the one-act play The Proposal. The one-act play The Proposal is full of humorous elements. The characters in the play behave ridiculously. Lomov comes to propose to Natalia, but he cannot talk in a straightforward manner. He beat about the bush. He starts quarreling with her over a piece of land. When he comes back, he quarrels about the superiority of his dog. Chubukov is also a humorous character. He knows that Lomov has come to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage even when he quarrels with him. We laugh at the words used by them and their behavior. The sudden marriage of Lomov and Natalia creates laughter. Chubukov puts his daughter's hand in Lomov's in a foolish manner. Lomov is a comic character. He complains about his poor health that provokes laughter. Thus, the play gives us a lot of humorous events that creates laughter. Question 14. What is the theme of the play The Proposal? The one-act play The Proposal throws light on the lifestyle of the landlords of Russia in the 19th century. The farm laborers worked on their farms, so these landlords led a life of ease and comfort. In fact, they led an idle life. They were full of vanity and pride. They quarreled over petty things. In the play, we see that Lomov and Natalia have a dispute over a piece of land. They quarrel again over the qualities of the dogs. Chubukov, Natalia's father, instead of pacifying them, joins them. He and Lomov abuse each other. All of them behave in a very funny manner. The play also brings to light the social life of landowners of the 19th century. An unmarried grown-up daughter was considered to be a great burden by the parents. Chubukov curses himself for being the father of Natalia. An aged bachelor was also looked down upon in society. This theme has been presented nicely through the characters of Lomov and Natalia. Question 15. Chubukov has all the attributes of a quarrelsome, rich Russian landlord. Instead of solving the problems, he also adds fuel to the fire in their quarrel over oxen meadows and the dogs. Justify the statement. Chubukov represents a typical rich landlord of 19th century Russia. He seems to be fairly rich and resourceful. Even his neighbor, Lomov, acknowledges the frequent help rendered to him by Chubukov. He lends his threshing machine to Lomov. On account of this help, he has to put off his own threshing till November. Chubukov is quite practical. He knows that Lomov can be a good match for his daughter Natalia. So he at once gives his assent to Lomov's proposal of marrying her. Actually, he has been waiting for such a proposal for a long time. Chubukov is a landlord and can't resist his hunger for land. He opposes the claim of Lomov over the ownership of oxen meadows. He even threatens to send his mowers out to the meadows. Chubukov can be quite quarrelsome, abusing and insulting. He always sides with his daughter. He picks up a quarrel on oxen meadows. He calls Lomov a land grabber and a villain. He abuses his grandfather of being a drunkard and his father a gambler. He jumps into quarrels and adds only fuel to fire. However, Chubukov is a great opportunist. He grabs the opportunity the moment Lomov comes into his senses. He makes Natalia kiss and embrace Lomov and gets them married. How do Natalia and Chubukov react when Lomov falls down in an armchair and is considered to be dead? How does Chubukov manage to get Natalia married with Lomov? Anton Chekhov's play The Proposal presents a farcical situation when Lomov falls down unconscious in an armchair. Before that, insults and abuses were freely hurled. The dispute over oxen meadows was settled, but the quarrel over the dogs took an unpleasant turn. Lomov is abused and called names. He gets furious and excited and falls down unconscious. He is thought to be almost dead. Both Natalia and Chubukov feel that things are going out of their hands. They feel helpless. Chubukov feels like shooting himself or cutting his own throat. Natalia is dying for marriage. The moment Lomov comes to senses, everyone feels relieved. Chubukov can't afford to miss the opportunity. He tells Natalia to hurry up and get married. She too acts at once. She embraces and kisses Lomov and gives her willingness to marry him. Only one thing is left for Chubukov. He blesses the newly married couple and opens a bottle of champagne. They say old habits die hard. The new couple start their married life and a fresh quarrel. It is over their dog Squeezer and Guess again. I hope this video is helpful to you. Do let me know in comments which part of the play you found the most humorous. It can be the part where Lomov tells about his health issues. That is really funny the way if we imagine what happens to him. Do let me know what are your choices of this humorous element. Do take good care of yourself. Bye.